And it'll prove again that Diane Watson, Democrat, owes her constituents a major apology. Medicine. I like this one. Even securing basic medicines is often a Herculean effort in Cuba. What? Now wait a second. How could it be such an effort to access medicine in a country that has such a fabulous healthcare system? Diane Watson, Democrat of Los Angeles County, California. I'm telling you, reports abound concerning the lack of aspirin. What? Aspirin? Oh, and major shortage of antibiotics and multivitamins and other pharmaceuticals. Leaders in Havana point to statistics concerning numbers of doctors and consultations as proof of the outstanding coverage of the Cuban system. Except when you leave, you don't leave with any medicine. You know, drink lots of liquids that are 300 meters away and then call me tomorrow. For instance, in 2002, there were 76 million doctor visits, or approximately 6.8 per capita. Well, you know why? When you have shortages of water, people get sick. And this water can't be real great. Well, listen to this one, Diane Watson, Democrat, California. Antibiotics are rare in Cuba. So you know what, Diane? If you go to Cuba, you better take some general antibiotics with you, you know, in case you get an infection, a lung infection, a blood infection, a skin infection. Antibiotics are rare in Cuba and are not available in the state-run pharmacies. Can't even go into the pharmacy and buy them. They can only be purchased in the black market. Oh, well, Diane, that might be a new business you might want to look into there, supplying Cuba with, antibiotics, legally, of course. Pharmacies are not stocked even with the most basic supplies, Diane, such as aspirin, forcing Cubans into the government dollar stores where they are available at prices in U.S. currency. You got that, Diane? The much sought after aspirin, you have to go to one of their dollar stores. And you have to have U.S. currency because Cuban currency is worth nada, nothing, zero, zilch, Diane. Now, well out of the reach, many Cubans with no access to U.S. dollars. Well, there you go. Imagine that. One Canadian journalist found that a tube of cortisone cream costs as much as 25 U.S. dollars. Well, Diane, I can go to Walmart and I can get a tube of cortisone cream for $3, the equivalent of nearly 2 months' salary. Diane, I think you're an idiot. No, I know you're an idiot. Diane, you need to apologize. Diane Watson, Democrat, you need to apologize to the American people. 2 times the average Cuban, that is 2 months' salary for a Cuban. Let's take another look at this. US $25, the equivalent of nearly 2 months of Cuban average salary. That means that the average salary in Cuba, Diane, is $12.50, $12.50. That's what it is. Well, isn't that nice, Diane? I'll tell you what, Diane, why don't you move to Cuba and you can work for Fidel and, make your $12.50, a month, and you could do some great things there. don't get sick. Market booming. Listen to this. The black market is booming in Cuba. Thriving black market, Diane. And theft at the workplace is common in Cuba. Meanwhile, services provided by the government are lagging far behind present needs. Well, Diane, looks like your little report that you gave wasn't true. Like a lie. Oh, that's right. Wait a second. I was told one time, by my mother, that you are judged by the people you associate with, and if people are of bad character, you shouldn't associate with them. So, Diane, I think your voters need to disassociate themselves with you. Theft at the workplace is common. Meanwhile, services provided by the government are lagging behind. Present needs, medicines are unavailable. Water and sanitation shortcomings increase the likelihood of disease, Diane. And the housing is inadequate and most of the time perilous. That means, for you, Diane, that means non-existent, in case you don't understand what that means. Because evidently, you don't understand the difference between a communist-run state and a republic with a free market. The average Cuban has seemed more preoccupied with fulfilling basic needs of water, food, and medicine than any other concerns that they have in their daily life. Ah, nice, Diane. While the future is unclear, oh, it's clear, believe me. It's real clear. Cuba's not going to remain communist for a long time. And I can tell you one thing. If I would have been president of the United States 20 years ago, Cuba would be a free country. Might even be a state. Wow, think of that. Cuba, part of the United States. Should be. It's only 90 miles offshore. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? What a nice place to go. What a beautiful climate in Cuba. While the future is unclear, the present deterioration of basic services and hardships of daily life facing the Cuban population are unfortunately all too certain. Well, there you go, Diane. Ladies and gentlemen, Diane Watson's phone number is area code 202-225-7084. Demand an apology. She's wrong, completely, totally incorrect. Fax number, if you want to, fax her that picture we like to draw, 202-225-2422. There you have it. Okay, now, moving into some of this other areas here, we ended on a note Tuesday of the IRS involvement in the new health care bill. And I haven't heard a tremendous amount of news about this, but I'm telling you, this is a dangerous, dangerous privacy issue, allowing the IRS more power and the power to go into your accounts and deduct the money necessary to pay for your health care. That should be absolutely unconstitutional, against the law. That shouldn't be allowed in a republic nation such as ours. And the IRS can also divulge all of your tax information to anyone who requests it in the government. Any governmental department that wants your information will be available, and it will be allowed to have it. And by the way, the IRS is going to determine, according to your adjusted gross tax return, on what health care program you qualify for, or if you qualify for any credits, any of those health care credits, for the poor people. Here's to you. Got to put the fire out. Now comes the famous burp, right? Excuse me. It's not there yet. Okay, thanks to Heritage Foundation, Mark Wilson published a new study Friday determining how the